arid coastline bordered by a turquoise sea is one of the most dangerous in the world. From these deserted shores, Somali pirates launch their attacks, threatening the sea traffic off the Horn of Africa. The Pramoni, a 20,000-ton chemical tanker flying the Singaporean flag, was the victim of one of these acts of piracy. The 24 members of the crew taken hostage aboard have waited to be freed since the 1st of January 2010. Negotiations are underway, but it is impossible to get closer to the ship without putting their lives in danger. Modern piracy is a nightmare for the 20,000 ships that pass through the Gulf of Aden each year. The passage, part of a major sea route between Asia and Europe, is an unavoidable stretch of water for world trade. A trade that is today threatened by increasing hijackings that have sent the price of insurance and imports rocketing. Syed Afak Ahmed, captain of the tanker Otina, is passing through for the 3rd time. And each time, tension is just as high.
This area is one of the worst at the moment in the world. Seafarers are in real trouble because of this piracy. You can imagine that, like what would your family be feeling, your kids, your wife, what stressful they would be if they hear that their loved ones are captured. And I would say that this has to be taken really seriously.
Following a United Nations request in 2008, NATO deployed a naval force to the region to escort ships that were carrying humanitarian aid to Somalia under the World Food Programme. Similar missions have been continuing ever since. It's full alert on board the Absalon, a Danish warship taking part in Operation Ocean Shield, led by the Alliance. At just 25 years of age, Heidi is on her 3rd mission in the area. And for her, as for the rest of the crew, pirates are no idle threat.
I just have to make sure that no ships are sailing towards us, or if I see anything suspicious, any small boats, anything like that. So I just have to make sure that we're sailing the right way and the other ships are sailing the right way as well. There's still pirate attacks. You can't be everywhere at any time. There's a lot of waters down here, so you can't be everywhere. But they're more safe here because there are always a Navy ship near.
Being near like this, the Absalon has been able to intervene rapidly on several occasions. On the 5th of February 2010, a Slovenian cargo ship named Ariella sent out a distress call. The crew, which was able to take shelter in a safe room, confirmed the presence of armed men on deck. The Absalon's special forces had to scale the 30,000-ton cargo ship without a pilot, sailing at full speed into one of the world's busiest shipping lanes. In the space of a few minutes, they gained control of the ship. As for the pirates, they fled. A few days earlier, the Absalon came to the aid of the Faize Ozami. After several days of captivity, the 14 members of the dhow's crew were freed, safe and sound. Once again, the pirates fled. Lieutenant Rasmus, in command of the boarding party, has taken part in several rescue operations.
We took them by surprise that night. They didn't know we were coming. So we told them to put up your arms, and we quickly went to the boat and we confiscated, or we laid hands on every weapon.
It even works, even though it's very rusty. They're very functional. And now it's ready.
Yet the Absalon is not confined to responding in the event of an attack. It also serves as the command ship for Standing NATO Maritime Group 1, one of the Alliance's naval forces.
NATO has what we call lines of operation, and I guess you can say the primary one is to disrupt the piracy, and that means protect the shipping that goes through the area and denying the pirates the possibility of attacking the merchant vessels that are going through. And if we see attacks, then we try to stop the attacks.
But NATO forces are not the only ones in the area.
Well, first of all, there's international cooperation within the NATO task group. There's at present a Danish ship and an American ship involved. So that's one form of international cooperation. On the other side, there's 2 other task groups, task forces around here that we will have to coordinate with. And there's countries involved here that do not belong to a specific task group, but they are involved in counter-piracy, and we need to coordinate actions with them as well.
The Absalon exchanges information in real time with the 13 vessels of the European Union's operation Atalanta and the ships of Task Force 151, a coalition under US control, as well as the various national navies present in the zone. In all, about 20 warships are patrolling Somali waters to ensure their safety. A complex task for which the teams receive regular training with one single objective: to intervene before the pirates board in order to protect the lives of civilian sailors. The enemy they are dealing with is all too often unpredictable.
There are different types of pirates. Some are more professional than others, but still they are people who go out and they are not afraid of using weapons at the merchant ships. We have also seen that they are willing to use weapons also against military forces, and they are probably on drugs, some of them, and they are, you can't count on the way of they will react towards us, so we have to be prepared for anything when we approach them.
The Danish special forces on board the Absalon are in the front line for these high-risk operations. But as military personnel themselves concede, the use of force cannot be the only solution in the long term.
We are sort of fighting the symptoms, not the disease down here, you know, to really solve the problem of piracy involves solving the problem of Somalia, and the problems of Somalia are many and complex. We need to help the local states in the region down here to build up their own capability to curb or fight piracy in the area. But that's, of course, a more longer-term way to solve the problem. And we have to recognize that there are several things that can be done to reduce piracy down here. And an important one is, of course, that the shipping industry take the appropriate measures to protect themselves, because there are just not enough warships in the world to protect all the ships that go through here. So we have to encourage and work together with the shipping industry so they also protect themselves.
Prevention and passive defense measures that the Otina crew has fully adopted.
Before arriving in this area, we have briefed all the crew. We have done a security drill. We keep all our doors locked. We keep extra lookouts. You know, apart from duty officer, there are 2 more lookouts. One looking ahead and one only watching the poop area, the quarters, you know, port and starboard quarters. We get night vision binoculars. We rig fire hoses around our both sides poop deck. So in case there is an alarm for piracy, security, then everybody to muster in this room here. This is called cargo control room. You know, we got some extra provision behind this this panel. You know, if people muster here, if we lock the doors, they can survive for for some time. Some extra provision.
Another essential condition for ships transiting via the Gulf of Aden is to follow the IRTC, the Internationally Recommended Transit Corridor, a shipping lane that is secure thanks to the permanent patrols of international forces. Although the pirates show no intention of giving up their fight, the strategy is paying off.
It's more secure now. People are taking more precautions. They're more cautious. The NATO ships are more active now, I would say, and it's more secure than before.
After several weeks patrolling the IRTC, it's time for the Absalon and its 150 crew members to leave the Gulf of Aden. The vessel sets sail due south for a new mission.
Right now we are engaged in a intel gathering mission. We need to go off the Somalian coast and look for pirate camps and try to see if there are any preparations going on, when they are preparing themselves. What about the pirated ships? Are they still in the positions that they were reported last? What are the intensity of activity of the coastline? And also we look for pirate ships in this area, because if we find pirate ships that are preparing for pirate attacks in the Indian Ocean, we will of course board them and confiscate their gear.
Faced with constant military pressure in the Gulf of Aden, the pirates have moved to the Indian Ocean. The area is the size of Europe and very difficult to monitor.
Pirates have operated hundreds of miles, 600 miles off the coast of Somalia. And so we have to approach the pirates down there in a different fashion. And that's why we have moved more into positioning ourselves off where we know the pirate camps are in Somalia and trying to intercept the pirates as they come out in order to head out into the basin to intercept shipping. If we capture some pirates and take them on board the ship, then that means that the ship then has to travel to some place to disembark the pirates, which is difficult enough in the first place because that takes days. And so it's much more efficient for us combating the effects of piracy to just set the pirates back ashore than to take a valuable asset like Absalon or any of the other ships that are in this area out of play for upwards of a week or more just to transport pirates to a nearby port. They'd be much more effective remaining on station and disrupting the activity on the scene rather than transporting the pirates away.
We are a few miles from Hobyo, on the east coast of Somalia. The Lynx, the Absalon's combat helicopter, is carrying out a reconnaissance flight. After about 10 minutes, they fly over the first boats, then arrive over the camp. The camp is a suspect base that had already been identified by international forces in 2009. Man is the helicopter's reconnaissance officer. His role is to gather a maximum of clues to determine whether the pirates are ready to attack.
We're looking for skiffs with multiple outboard engines. We're looking for larger skiffs, whaler types, with inboard engines. We're looking for provision that looks like it can keep the whalers at sea for a longer time, oil drums. We're looking for ladders with hooks attached to them, weapons, stuff like that.
The photos taken during the flights are analysed in the Absalon's operations centre. Before envisaging any form of action, Captain Termansen wants to ensure they're not simply dealing with fishermen.
This picture here shows us a place on the coastline where we had the helicopter out and gather some intelligence. We see here a lot of fishing boats and we have different kind of vehicles around the area here, and also we have men. We can zoom a little more in and see if the men carries weapons, and also we can see what they are building up of stockpiles, fuel, outboard engines, and are they preparing to go to sea.
The brand new pickups, fuel supplies, armed men, and the number of boats photographed leave no doubt as to the nature of the suspect camp's occupants. They are indeed pirates. The Absalon travels slowly towards the coast. On board, the entire crew is on the alert. In the operations room, Dan Termansen and his men keep a constant eye on the control screens. Thanks to the ship's ultra-powerful infrared camera, they can observe the slightest movement in the camp. On deck, Heidi and the boarding crew are ready to act. As night falls, a first pirate boat heads out to sea, under the cover of darkness. The special forces have only a few minutes to check their weapons and prepare to intercept it. The Absalon launches its rapid dinghies after the suspect boat. After a few minutes' chase in the dark, the commandos, covered by the ship's helicopter, board the boat. Confronted with the heavily armed Danish elite units, the presumed pirates offer no resistance. Once they have taken control of the boat, the special forces note the suspects' identities before discreetly accompanying them to shore. The boat they have seized is a mother skiff, a 12-meter whaleboat, loaded with fuel, water and supplies. It's a sort of nanny boat that enables pirates to remain at sea for several days or even weeks, waiting for their next victim. Then the explosives team boards the boat. Over 2 kilos of explosives are placed in the whaleboat. The charge is calculated to destroy the boat entirely while creating the least amount of wreckage and pollution.
Og lillebror BUD, vi monterer detonatoren, så vidt geværet skal hentes. Ja, kør bare. Du kan bare køre lige ud her. Frem efter. Ja, det må du sgu selv om, hvad vej. Hvis du kører... Det var godt. Og så holder den op i søen.
Når vi trækker det her, ikke også? Du holder det bare lige her. Og så det er bare at give det en knald. Bang, ligesom her, ikke også? Man har ikke hånden hernede, fordi det kan man en spark. Hold lige her. Bare ligesom her og smak, ikke også? Okay. Så jeg trækker, når han siger det, så du...
10, 9,
Good movement.
The assault crew returns to the Absalon in the early hours. For Heidi, it's been a busy night.
You've been out there, you've been in action, not that big of an action, but you've been out and your heart has been pumping, and then you're coming back, and then you have to relax, but you're still kind of up here because you're still ready. Kan du gøre det? Mine fingre er simpelthen alt for våde. You still have a loaded gun, so you have to unload it. But after that, when we unloaded our guns and take all our gear off, we sit down and talk so we can make sure everybody's okay, so nothing happens. I think it's good because we know what we're doing. We know we're making sure that somebody is not going to be taken, and they're going to the sea on a safe way.
Discouraged after 3 unsuccessful attempts, the pirates decamp. Very quickly, the base empties out, and on board, routine sets back in. For Captain Termansen, the mission has been a success.
I think Absalon is very proud being the first ship that has conducted that kind of operation. we managed to find a very active pirate camp. We destroyed 3 pirate attack groups, and we also saw that the activity in the camp was decreasing. All we have trained for actually worked. All the men did exactly what they were supposed to, and the operation went smooth. And that really made me proud of my men on board.
When you're off duty, you don't think about it that much. You're just off duty, take your brains out, relax. But when you're on duty, you have to stand up here for 6 hours, you have to be ready, you have to look, and yes, you think about it, you hear them talking over the radio. But just remember a guy's voice saying that thank you for helping us, and they're glad we're down here. It warms your heart.
After 3 months at sea, it's time for the Absalon and the other ships of standing NATO Maritime Group 1 to leave the area. But the mission is far from over. They are immediately replaced by the 5 ships of standing NATO Maritime Group 2, which will carry on the fight against piracy. The objective remains the same: to restore calm and safety to the seas of the Horn of Africa.